Hi everyone, I'm Brendan Scorpio and I am a professional photographer. Here are a few tricks for beginning photographers. Our first tip is figuring out what lens to use for what purpose. I work with a 5D Mark IV, which is a full frame camera by Canon, and on it I have a 50mm prime lens. Another prime lens that I possess is this right here. This is a 100mm 2.8 prime lens by Canon. So, as you can see, when I rotate this ring, the lens does not move in or out because it is a fixed lens, or prime lens, and they do not zoom. Now, where this is beneficial is when you're doing things such as portrait photography or studio photography when you have complete control of your environment. Here is a photo that I took using a prime lens. Because I had the time to place the rings, set up the shot, and control the depth of field, I was able to get the exact photo that I wanted. So, generally speaking, the best time to use a prime lens is when you have the time to set up a specific shot that you want. In case you don't have the time to set up a shot, what you can do is use a zoom lens. This right here is a 24-105 zoom lens by Canon. A lot of times when you're doing event photography or landscape photography, you don't have the time to switch out your lenses like you would in the studio. As an example, here's a photo I took at a parade. Because I didn't want to miss anything during the parade, I was able to use my zoom lens to zoom in and out instead of changing my lenses like I would have to do with a prime lens. So, as a recap, I would recommend using prime lenses when you have more time to set up your shot, and I would recommend using zoom lenses when you're doing more of a run and gun style of photography. My second tip involves finding unique approaches to help your photos stand out from other photographers. While doing photography, you'll often find yourself at different monuments or landmarks that photographers have been before, so it's important to find a way to keep your photos unique. There are a lot of ways to keep your photos unique, but I will start by discussing two of them that I personally use. The first one is finding a different time of day to shoot at. Here's an example of a photo I took at Tahquamenon Falls. Because I took this photo at night instead of during the day, I was able to see the Milky Way in the photo, as well as identify different colors such as purple and blue that you wouldn't normally see during the day. Another method that I use to help keep my photos unique is by experimenting with different depths of field. One of the ways I do this is by using a lens ball. As you can see here, I was able to use my lens ball to photograph the clock tower using a shallow depth of field, as well as frame the clock tower to where I didn't have to zoom out or back up too much. Again, there are many ways to keep your photos unique. These are just two of the ones I personally use to help me stand out from other photographers. My final tip involves when and when not to use a flash. I recommend using an external flash because it allows you to bounce your light instead of shooting directly at your subjects, which will overexpose them or wash them out. One time you should use flash is whenever you're dealing with a strong contrast between lights and darks in your photos. Another time when it's important to use your flash is whenever you're doing event photography that takes place at night or in dark rooms. One of the mistakes that photographers often make is they use their flash outside at night. The reason why you don't want to do this is because you'll have nowhere to bounce your flash off of, which will make part of your photo overexposed and the rest of your photo underexposed. Keep these tips in mind when you're deciding whether or not you should use a flash. At the end of the day, the best way to get better at photography is just by going out and shooting. I hope these tips help give you a head start and best of luck on your future shoots.